What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday afternoon. Big Marley and I are recording this on Wednesday this week. Fingers crossed, all 13 fights hold. O2 Arena in London. Absolutely love that. One of the best fans out there, London fans. They absolutely always show up, always get loud. Sometimes the judges aren't very good, though, and they favor those hometown fighters. I'm curious to hear if you have any thoughts. I'll throw it to you right away on this, actually. How's your Wednesday going? What's your initial thoughts for this 13-fight card? Are you changing anything, or was there any home cooking that goes in your decision-making process this week?
I'm good. I think it's a good DFS card. I don't love it from a name perspective. Like, it's not one you want to invite all your buddies over to watch or anything like that, but it could be one where we win a bunch of money, and that's even better for me. But no, I'm not changing anything up like home cooking wise. I think judges are pathetic anywhere they go. It's more of a corruption issue in my opinion. But I feel like usually I do kind of have a little hometown biasness on whatever card it is. But this card, I was halfway through before I was like, where the hell is this card actually? So I kind of went in with it being like a neutral ground almost. And then I'm probably against the hometown fighters more so than on them, but I'm not even sure. I haven't really taken it into account at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't take that into consideration either. I think you said it best. Judges just stink, period. Too unpredictable for me to be changing my mindset on it. If I did in any fights, it'd be fights expected to go the distance that has a hometown fighter and then an opposing fighter. You can give them a small nod if you think it's a close fight that way. Easy bets in here, Justin Rice. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Whenever you're watching it again, all we ask, like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. We are sharing the stone. My quick broad slate overview, then I'll go fight by fight, throw it to Big Marley. 13 fights, that's good, assuming we keep all 13. We had 13 last week too, but we had so many big favorites last week. This week, we have no favorite above minus 550. Minus 500 is the big, or no, Leroy Duncan is minus 550. We have three big ones, minus 550, Vukinich minus 500, Guram minus 450. Outside of that, all like minus 300 or lower. So dogs should be barking a little bit. Only 6 of the 13 are expected to finish. So it's not like the biggest ceiling card. Upper tier, it's fine, but it's not some weeks where it's like all these fighters are scoring 100 plus. Mid tier is pretty strong though. A couple fights favored are expected to finish in that mid tier. So my thoughts, you can leave money like always. Main event, Leon's a notorious bad DFS scorer. If he wins, I think this pass he's not on the optimal. Sean Brady, a great DFS scorer. I'm not making a rule. I will have a lot of Sean Brady, though. That's all I got for broad slate overview. Anything you want to add, or do you want to go right for the first fight of the night?
No, I have 0 5-star fights right now, hoping you can maybe talk me into one as we go along.
I don't think I'll be talking to you any 5-star fights, but that's good. I mean, looking, again, ownership, everything will be up Thursday. We have no fighter above 50%. Sean Brady will be the highest. We have him 50%. Maybe he comes in 55, something like that. Besides Sean Brady, ownership will be very spread out, which makes it very good for DFS. Let's just get every fighter making weight, fingers crossed, or at least have the fights all stay on, even if someone does miss weight. All right, let's kick it off. First fight of the night. Guram Kutateladze taking on K Fernandez. Minus 450 for Guram, plus 350 for Fernandez, plus 120 for this fight to finish. Guram plus 165 inside the distance. Fernandez plus 575. You have it a 2-star, and I'm with you. I had this as a fight fade for 20 entry and below. Just Guram doesn't throw enough volume. He doesn't wrestle enough. He's 9,400. Probably needs a first-round knockout, plus 425 in round 1. I'd rather take shots in other upper-tier fighters, cheaper fighters where I could just build a Guram team, drop down 600 and play someone else, get different that way. Fernandez, even in a win, I don't know what his upside is. Guram is tough. Unless you talk me into something, I will have none of this fight to start it off.
Yeah, I'm cool fading this fight. Guram's knockout or bust at his price. He's landing like one takedown in each of his last 3 fights, but you need a lot more than that at $9,400, and he's not doing enough on the ground when he gets it there. But he is primarily a striker and a more low-volume striker too. So if it's not a first-round knockout, I think he's off the optimal lineup. He's averaging 61 in his UFC wins so far, you might as well lose if you're scoring 61 points at 9,400. So yeah, I'm cool with a full fade on Guram. I'd rather get different by leaving salary, even if I can afford him. Fernandez, I could see him knocking Guram out and just breaking the slate right out of the start. So I'm not going to fade Fernandez, but on my hand builds, I just really don't see me like wanting to click his name much. I like other dogs a little bit more than him, and I don't have to pay up for a whole lot of the 9K range where I need to throw someone cheap like him in. So he'll be an MME play for me. I'm fine with anywhere between 5 and 15 or so percent.
Makes sense. You and I are on the same page for Guram. You'll play a little Fernandez. You're 10% though. Like that could be over the field on Fernandez. I don't see many clicking that button at all. One of the lowest owned fighters, so never have a problem with that. Good evening to you, Joanne. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Hope anybody watching is having a good NBA slate. Absolute chaos, like always in the association. But hey, that's a benefit of being a member at Chippin' Nation. Our man Rio always in the Discord, breaking things down for any changes, projections, of course, getting updated. MMA is going on. MLB next Thursday. Can't wait for that. PGA locks tomorrow. NHL, even if you're watching this Friday, Saturday even. Showdown content. PGA, always good. Check it out. NASCAR. Shout out to Eric, the game. Awesome stuff. Head over to shippingnation.com. Get in the Discord too if you do join. Next fight on the card, pretty much a coin flip. Nathan Fletcher, minus 112 over Colin Lford, minus 108, plus 140 for this fight to finish. Lford plus 255 inside the distance. Fletcher plus 375. So this is a rematch, Big Marley, from, I believe, 2018. Yeah, 2018. Fletcher won a unanimous decision. A lot of wrestling. That's what Nathan Fletcher usually does. Lford reversed it a couple times. Fletcher just was more wet blanket, third round. Lford couldn't get up at all. So we had Fletcher minus, again, I put these odds up on Monday this week, minus 125 Monday. Now it's minus 112. So Lford taking some money inside the distance prop, pretty much the same. I'm Fletcher. I'll have both in the pool. I like other mid-tier fights more. Fletcher I prefer because if someone were to get like 7 takedowns, it's him. He can get there in a decision. Lford, it's harder to see that. He looked awful last fight. Absolutely no head movement. You have it as a 4-star, though, so you like this fight a bit. Talk to me.
Yeah, I could see either side just kind of dominating the fight. If Fletcher can get the fight to the ground, I think he could wet blanket him or submit him and score well at 8,400. He's a guy who could get 100 points. And really, I think if he's getting 100 points, he's on the optimal lineup on this slate. And then Lford, if Fletcher's not getting takedowns, I think Lofgren's way better on the feet. I think he's much more dangerous too. So if the takedowns aren't there for Fletcher, I could see an early knockout for Lofgren, or I could see him just picking him apart. And if it's a late finish, that's fine too, as long as he is just not getting, laid on in the first round or round and a half or something like that. And then what I think would be smart of Lford would be to just beat Fletcher to the punch. If you want to go out there and out wrestle him, I think he'd be fine in top control. Fletcher, I think, is good when he's in top control, but on bottom, I'm not worried about him at all. I think Lford might even be the better pure wrestler in this one. So my preferred play is probably Lford because he is cheaper. He had the plus next to his name when I did the fight, so I picked him, but I don't feel good enough about that where I'd be completely fine having like 40% Fletcher, 40% Lford or 20% of each, anywhere in that range. I have no real lean DFS wise. It's just going to be one of my favorite 3 fights on the card, I'd say.
I can't argue it. You definitely like it a little more than me. So I guess I'll throw it to you or throw it to you with this question. It's a mid-tier fight. It's expected to go the distance. How do you compare that to Padilla Herbert? Looks like you have it ranked lower, so you prefer that fight. Mm-hmm. What about Gunnar Nelson, Kevin Holland? You have it ranked lower, so you prefer that fight as well?
Yep. Yeah.
And then what about the
I could see those being boring fights.
And what about Tybura Parkin? You forgot to put a number before the.
I saw that when we got. I just put. If you refresh it, it'll be there.
Right.
But I would say it's very, very similar to me. Where I don't know that I think one side. I guess either side of that one could dominate, but it's anywhere from like a 60 to 100 point outcome in either of those fights. So that's kind of what I'm more targeting right there in the mid range, where the Nelson and the other fight you mentioned, I feel like it maybe more often than not, it leans towards 60 rather than 100.
That makes a lot of sense. And that just shows this is a really, really tricky card. Good luck building one team. And like the one team in the 555 or whatever this week, like I don't expect someone to have the nuts that wins it this week. You can easily see a solo shipper, 2, 3, 4 dupes. It's a really good card that way, assuming we keep all 13 fights. But with less than half of the fights expected to finish, people are going to be grabbing these fights that are favored to go the distance. 80 from a dog very well could be enough. 104, I'd sign up for 104 from pretty much anyone right now on this card, regardless of price. So that's how I'm seeing it right now. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, Shauna Bannon, minus 160. Puja Tomar, plus 140. Most likely fight to go the distance on the card at minus 500. Both girls, plus 600 inside the distance. Easy for me. Tomar or pass. The reason, it's a $1,400 difference. And yeah, you have it as a 1 star. I changed Tomar from underweight to overweight. Maybe I'm around the field. Maybe I'm overweight. I'm fine. The reason, A, she's taken some money this week. And B, like I just said, I'm fine with 80 from a $7,400 fighter. Will it be optimal? I don't know. I'll sign up for it. I don't want 100%. No chance I'm playing Shauna Bannon, though. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, full fade. I mean, I'm not against Tomar being in my MMA lineups if I make 150 and SaberSim throws are in there. But if I'm making 20, even on an optimizer, I'm Xing her out. If I'm hand building 20 or less, I'm Xing her out. And Bannon's easiest fade on the whole card. There's no way I'm paying 8,800 for her. Even if you tell me that's the only possible way I can have any chance at a solo shipper is if I use Bannon and she goes out there and wins. I'm still out. No, I'd rather split.
100%.
She's not winning and getting 100 points. So now that I said that, watch it happen. The comments will be filled up. But it's just an easy fade for me. I think it's going to be a close fight. Bannon kicking, Tomar punching. Judges not having any idea how to score it. Probably get a 30-27 each way. But I'd rather have the underdog all the time in that scenario. So Tomar or pass, most likely pass.
100%. I'm definitely in agreement. Shauna Bannon beats me. I will gladly move on to next week. All right, next fight on the card. Biggest favorite, Christian Leroy Duncan, minus 550. Taking on Andre Pulio, plus 420. Minus 220 for this fight to finish. Leroy Duncan, minus 200 inside the distance. Pulio, plus 850. Leroy Duncan also plus 175 in round 1. Biggest favorite, highest inside the distance prop, best first round prop. With all that being said, he's still not favored to finish in the first round. He's not getting takedowns unless you tell me you think he is. He's just usually a pure striker. Second round knockout, 95. Might be enough. He's still 9,600 though. So while I'll definitely be playing Leroy Duncan, I think he wins. You have it a 3-star. Like, it makes sense. He's by no means a slam dunk play. I would argue we have no slam dunk plays outside of Sean Brady. And if Sean Brady doesn't win, or people think like Leon puts a way better account for himself, like even that's not great. So yeah, it's tough up here. I'll be mixing, matching and stuff, but Leroy Duncan is one of the clear guys who has 100+ point upside, and anyone that has that on this card, I am definitely playing.
Yeah, he's going to need the knockout first or second round, but that's probably his most likely chance of winning. I mean, he is the much better striker, but if this is a striking match, I don't think that Pulaev is just going to eat 3 rounds worth of Duncan strikes. I think he goes down at some point. So I'll get some Duncan in there, but he is a striker at $9,600. And he's going to get enough ownership to where I'd probably rather go underweight and just leave that salary on the table again, get a little bit different that way. And I like to fade the knockout type of fighters. I am picking him to get one, but I'm hoping it's a 3rd rounder and he just doesn't quite make it there. And I think this Pulaev guy should look to wrestle a little bit in this fight. He is primarily a striker, but I think I heard somewhere that he's been wrestling since he was like 15 years old. So that's more of a wrestling background than Duncan has, I would think. So when you are at a disadvantage on the feet, look to wrestle. And if he could do that and win around that way, then I just don't see Duncan making the optimal lineup. So that's what I'm going to hope happens. I'll be underweight to Duncan, underweight to Pulaev as well, but I'll get Duncan exposure. And I probably won't be clicking on any Pulaev with my hand builds. He's another MMA guy where I'm fine if he lands in some lineups.
Yeah, I'm not playing Pulio in 20 or less either, unless like the line he takes heavy money and like it's Leroy Duncan minus 400 on Saturday. Then I'll probably get some. And if things do change, if I change any tags or whatever, always I tag the Discord and changes are made on the slate plan as well. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out, watching us live, watching on playback. All we ask is a thumbs up button. Like button helps us out a ton. Subscribe button as well. Heavyweights. Mick Parkin taking on Marcin Tybura. Minus 115 Parkin. Minus 105 Tybura. Plus 120 for this fight to finish. Parkin plus 270 inside the distance. Tybura plus 290. So when I put this fight up on Monday, you can see right here, minus 110 for this fight to finish. Now it's plus 120. You do not like to see that when you're wanting to target a fight, especially the first red flag I look at, heavyweight fights expected to go the distance. Heavyweights, why do you play them? Big power. A lot of first round up knockout upside, a lot of second round knockout upside. People just fully gas. If you wrestle them, you can get points in bunches. The fights that are really boring in heavyweights, you stand and stare at each other. You throw a couple strikes here and there. No pace. Goes the distance. Absolutely nobody wins in DFS. I'm scared it's going to be one of those fights, Big Marley. If someone wrestles, I think it's Tybura. And I think because he's higher priced, he's a dog. And I don't know. It seems like more people are on Mick Parkin. People play Parkin more than Tybura. I'll take the ownership discount a little bit. With the wrestling upside, it feels like he has more upside that way. But I don't like this fight much. And I'll refresh it to see how many stars you got right now.
Yeah. I'm in between 3 and 4 because I think Tybura can make the optimal lineup with wrestling or a finish, of course. I don't think he's the line says he's more likely to get a finish. I kind of disagree with it. I think that Parkin.
It says Parkin's more likely on Bet Online.
Oh no. Okay.
270 to 290.
I don't know what I was just looking at then. Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, I agree with that. So I think Parkin, we're playing him for a knockout. If he doesn't get a knockout, I don't think he's going to score well. I don't see him being the one to wrestle much. Maybe he can land 1 or 2 takedowns, but I don't see him just dominating the whole fight on the ground at all. And I don't see him striking at a high enough pace to score enough for the optimal in a decision-based win. Tybura would need a knockout on the feet, but he could get a takedown in each round and land enough strikes on the ground to score 90 plus, 100 plus points in a decision win. So I don't know what I want to do fighter wise. I'm probably going to be pretty even on this fight, but I'm also going to be close to the field where if I'm playing Parkin for the knockout, he's got like a 25% chance at that knockout. That's probably where I'm going to be. And then Tybura, I wouldn't say that all of his win percentage puts him on the optimal lineup. So I'd say I'll cut that win percentage in half, and that's going to put me right around the field on him too. So just hope that I can hit the nuts, maybe even like make 20 lineups or whatever it is, X out Parkin in those lineups, and whatever Tybura it gives me, just start duplicating those ones, throw Parkin in there as well. And just, if that fight's on the optimal lineup, then I got it type thing.
That all makes a lot of sense to me. This is one of the fights I know, like if they gave me 40% of either, I'm manually bumping it down. If it gave me 10% of both, I'd ride it. I trust Saberson with that. So I lean more under than over. But if I'm right, if I'm like 30% and we have Tybura projected at 25, and again, I don't think we have him that high. Yeah, we actually do, right? At 25%. If I had 30%, I'd be good with that too. So I'm going to make sure I'm not too overweight. But if I'm way underweight, I think I'd roll with it because I'm leaning more toward it stays on the feet. It's boring. It goes to decision. And that line movement has been pretty strong. And if that's the case, I don't think it gets there. But again, you can poke holes in every single one of these fights. That's why Big Marley, I can't recall a fight card that you've had no 5-star fights, let alone a 13 fight card we're talking. But I agree with you. So that just shows, and that is why ownership will be spread out too. Uh-oh. No Mateus. Can't happen. We'll get there in a little while, though. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, another big favorite, Lonnie Kavanaugh, minus 300, taking on Felipe dos Santos, plus 250, plus 180 for this fight to finish. Kavanaugh plus 235 inside the distance. Felipe dos Santos plus 625. throw it to you. What are you doing in this one?
Probably fading it. Kavanaugh, knockout or bust. He just doesn't fight at a pace where he can score enough at 9,100 to be on the optimal without an early finish. He does have power in his hands, but Santos has never been knocked out. So I just don't see me getting too much Kavanaugh. I'd rather find a way to get up to Duncan or leave money on the table. He could be a full fade for me. I'm not sure yet. Probably not with 150, but I don't know if I'm making 150 on this card. 20 or less, I think he's a full fade. Santos is a live underdog. He can fight at a higher pace than Kavanaugh, but even if he wins this fight, I don't see him scoring 10x. So it's another one I might just X them both out, but it's dog or pass. Like Santos, I'd rather have 70 from him than 70 from Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on dog or pass too. It's like a couple of days ago, this line was minus 380 Kavanaugh. Now it's minus 300. So Felipe has been getting line movement, which I like. Like Kavanaugh, if he banks him, but like, man, he's just low volume. Do you think he wrestles? That was my question. Like Felipe has no takedown defense. Altamirano took him down 9 times. Can Kavanaugh put on the wrestling shoes?
I don't know. I didn't see enough of Kavanaugh to see his wrestling game. He just looked like he wanted to strike in the fights that I saw.
You know, he definitely does want to strike.
But yeah, he could if he wanted to. I mean, Santos is not good at defending takedowns, so that would help me if like his coach told us that he was going to go in there and wrestle. Then sure, let me get some Kavanaugh exposure. But since I have no way of knowing that, I'm probably just going to end up fading him. Yeah,
because he's one of the lowest owned in the upper tier. Felipe has no takedown defense. Lonnie Kavanaugh, young kid who looks like he could I'm not going to say have the goods, but be pretty good. I'm gonna take a little shot on in chalkier lineups, and I'm playing the Sean Brady's of the world, and I'm playing other chalk, leaving $0. I'm fine playing a Lonnie Kavanaugh. We have him as the second, actually tied pretty much for the second lowest owned fighter in the upper tier. All right, that's all I got in that one. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. Jai Herbert taking on Chris Padilla. Coin flip on Bet Online, minus 110 apiece. Minus 105 for this fight to finish. Plus 205 for Chris Padilla inside the distance. Jai Herbert plus 310 inside the distance. So looking at it right here, it was minus 125 to finish on Monday. Now it's minus 105. The over is getting hit a bit, which you don't love to see in DFS. And I think it's clearly a Chris Padilla is a better play than Jai Herbert. He has the wrestling upside. Jai's a striker. Jai's a low volume striker. And Padilla, I mean, he looks to be pretty good. That elbow is so nasty. So nasty. With the wrestling upside, submissions on the table. Chris Padilla is definitely my preferred play. Now, I think ownership will go that way. I think Jai Herbert will be one of the lowest owned in the mid-tier. From there, I'll throw it to you. Like, just because he's the lowest owned doesn't mean he's going to be optimal or you want him. He's going to be a little leverage. It's a coin flip. How often is he going to get me 90 plus in this matchup? How often he gets a knockout?
Not often, in my opinion. Not often enough for me to want to play him. He doesn't really even like fight with the intention of knocking his opponent out. It doesn't look like anyways. He just wants to be technical. And he's a good kickboxer, but he's just not a good DraftKings fighter because he's primarily a striker. If he goes out there and wrestles in this fight, it's probably not going to be good for him. So if he wins, I think way more often he's scoring 60 rather than 90. And I'm just going to fade him because if I'm taking shots on both sides of the Tybura and Parkin fight and both sides of Fletcher Lford, I'm not trying to take shots on both sides of this one. So it's Padilla or pass for me completely. If Herbert gets the early knockout, I'm not winning this week. So Padilla, I do think can win a striking match. He's not as technical at all as Herbert. And I think he has more power, but Herbert can just throw shots that you don't really see coming. Maybe a kick could knock out Padilla. But Padilla's got power. He could knock him out. He could win a 15-minute striking match on volume. And his biggest edge is going to be his wrestling and grappling. So most of Padilla's wins, I think, will score 10x or more. And he has 100-point upside. So I'll be overweight to him. I'm picking him to win.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with all of that. If you look at Padilla has a better knockout prop Then Herbert, plus 365 versus plus 450. Padilla opens by submission, plus 700, now plus 525. So that's taking a good bit of money. Excuse me. I always like to see that when, you're targeting a fighter because, to get a submission, most times you do need takedowns, and he definitely could put on the wrestling shoes. It'd be the easiest path to victory in this one. So Padilla, my preferred play. And it makes a lot of sense what you said. Like, if you want to make some fades in the mid-tier, Jai Herbert would be the first fade I would click as well. All right. Let's keep it moving. Next fight on the card. This one should be pretty good. Morgan Charie taking on Nathaniel Wood. Minus 150 Charie, plus 130 Nathaniel Wood, plus 180 for this fight to finish. Charie plus 235 inside the distance. Nathaniel Wood plus 625. It's worth noting in this fight, and there's a lot of fights actually coming up with the line movement. Nathaniel Wood opened minus 240 in this fight. Now, a couple hours later, he was plus 160 already. But man, talk about a complete line flip. Then Wood's got some money back this week. What are you doing in this one? 8,700 Charie, 7,500 Nathaniel Wood.
I like this one. I think Charie has the higher ceiling. He has got power in his hands. He's got knockout potential. Could be in the first round. Wood is hittable. He's been cracked a lot over his career. Usually he doesn't get knocked out though. It's like he'll get knocked down and then he'll shake it off and he'll come back too. But it wouldn't shock me to see Morgan knock him out. And then Morgan could also wrestle. That's another flaw of Woods, is he could be taken down and he can be cracked. And Morgan can do both of those. So 8,700, he's a guy who I think can score 100. He'll be in my pool, but I think he loses. I bet Wood earlier in the week. I want to say like plus 150. I'm a Wood guy. I think he's so good. If he's not getting cracked and you don't get that butt pucker from that, then even if he's getting taken down, I feel like he's so good at using his pace, getting back to his feet, and he can make it a close enough fight where I don't think him getting out wrestled is going to make him completely lose this fight. So I like Wood. I'm always overweight to him. My issue is I don't really think he's got a big ceiling in this fight. I think he wins a decision, and I don't even know that it's going to hit 10x. So my preferred investment in Wood would be just a outright bet, but I will be getting DraftKings exposure to him too because he's an underdog and I'm picking to win outright. I'll just be getting my hedge exposure to Morgan on DFS.
Yeah, that'll make sense. I'll be playing both. Nathaniel Wood's definitely my preferred play for 1,200 less. Look at the volume. 5.75 significant strikes per minute, 1.56 takedowns per 15. I always like playing Nathaniel Wood when he's the underdog. The reason for that, he's a really good fighter. I like playing underdogs that you actually know are pretty good. And then, he also is the guy that has the hometown. He could get hometown cooking. If it's a close split decision, which this fight is favored to go the distance, Nathaniel Wood throws good volume, Charie more power. If it's fights like that, those are the fights where if I'm really close and trying to decide things, then you can lean the hometown person. The 1,200 savings for Wood alone had me leading that way. And even if Wood was minus 110, 120, I still would probably like Nathaniel Wood more. So I'm on the Wood train with you. All right, main card time. Jordan Vukinich minus 500 taking on Chris Duncan plus 375. Vukinich minus 170, or this fight to finish is minus 170. Vukinich inside the distance minus 130. Duncan plus 600. So it's worth noting, this fight opened to finish minus 160, now minus 170. Not crazy line movement. Vukinich himself, though, plus 110 inside the distance, now minus 130, where Chris Duncan went the other way. Opened plus 375, now plus 600. Another interesting line movement. Vukinich opened minus 160 in this fight. He's now minus 500. And you look on the stone on Monday, he was minus 400. I don't fade that steam very often. It does. Carlos Vera last week plus 600 dog against Musasa, who got all the money. Highest owned fighter, had kicked and submitted. It's MMA. Anything can happen. I ain't gonna play too much Duncan though. If he wins though, good leverage off of chalky Vukinich, and it's probably by knockout, right? He's got hands. 7 of his 9 wins, I believe. 7 of his 12 wins have come by knockouts. If there's a submission, it's definitely going to be Vukinich, though. He might even be the better striker.
Yeah. I like Vukinich as the pick to win. Minus 500, I think, is just a little too steep because his biggest advantage, I'd say, would be his grappling, but I don't think he's got that big of a wrestling edge for him to dictate where the fight takes place. And it wouldn't shock me to see Duncan go out there and land a takedown or two. I don't think it would be smart of him, but like just wrestling wise, I think he could do that. And then on the feet, it's a close fight. I could see it going either way. Duncan's got power, but I'd say Vukinich is the better overall striker. He's got power too. It's just we need a ceiling performance from Vukinich at 9,300. So I'll be taking shots on him. I just don't know how much I'll be able to get because I could definitely see him winning and scoring 75 points if it's a decision win. And then I do want some Duncan because if Duncan wins, I think he has a good chance at the optimal lineup. It's just I don't know how often he actually gets his hand raised. So I would say I'll be around field weight on both of them just so I don't get burned either way. The minus 160, if it's like minus 250 on Saturday, then I want a ton of this fight. But if it goes down, it's plus 125 inside the distance. And this is a 2-star fight for me. So it would really rely a lot on that ITD line, I think.
I agree. So I'm going to just throw a couple 1v1s rapid fire at you. Vukinich or Guram?
Vukinich for sure.
Agree with you. Vukinich or Kavanaugh?
Vukinich.
Charie or Vukinich?
Vukinich, since I am picking Wood to win, like if it's a one lineup, but I might end up with more Charie exposure.
Alberg or Vukinich?
Close, but I'll say Alberg.
See, at this point, like you're gonna naturally just get like that. Like the top tier is just not good. Where you're just naturally gonna get some. Like you just have to. It feels like minus 130 to finish with some wrestling upside. Because I'm with you. I have him over Guram, over Bannon, over Kavanaugh, over Charie. Like I'm just naturally gonna have to play him on this card. Is how I look at it. But we'll keep it moving. I'm gonna have a little Chris Duncan. I'm definitely gonna have some Vukinich. And yeah, that's how I see it in that one. I'm definitely following the line movement though. Vukinich, and then I'm saying by submission. All right, 4 fights left. Alexa Thionara taking on Molly McCann, or Thionara, excuse me. Alexa Thionara minus 202 taking on Molly McCann plus 172, plus 160 for this fight to finish. Thionara plus 250 inside the distance. Molly McCann plus 475. This is my Judice Dubon fight of last week. Hey, I like that result last week. That was pretty good. Big Marley, I know you jammed that fight in the 555. Not expected to go the distance, just like this fight. 2 women, just like this fight. Upper tier, lower tier, just like this fight. I can make cases for both. I'll just say Molly's easy to make a case for. When she wins, over 5 significant strikes per minute, over 1 takedown per 15. When she wins, if I see her winning in this one, she's getting the crowd into it. She's stuffing takedowns. She's piecing her up on the feet. Throwing big bombs, throwing a lot of volume. She wins, she scores well. I'll play her that way. Thionara making her UFC debut, but man, she looked good to me on Contender Series. 101 significant strikes, 3 takedowns. Molly lost 3 of her 7 losses, all by submission. Only finish losses by submission. Thionara has some grappling to her. Looking at her submission prop, open plus 450, now plus 400. Has some volume. Easiest path is wrestling. If she finishes this fight, which plus 250 isn't bad, she's going to be low owned. I'm in on Thionara. I'm definitely going to be overweight, especially when I can poke holes in a lot of these top tier fighters. At her ownership, I'm going to be overweight. I like this fight.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm not low on her ownership, but I like her a lot too, so I might be because McCann's biggest weakness is just being put on her back and being stuck there, and that's what Thionara is going to want to do. She's got, I wouldn't call her like a good wrestler, but she like shoots in for these power double legs. Like it's almost like a football tackle. It looks like, but shit works. And it'll work on Molly, I'm sure. And she could probably do it each round. And if that's the case, I think she's going to get between 3 and 6 takedowns, have enough damage on the ground or not damage, action on the ground to where she can score 100+ points in this fight. if she doesn't get those takedowns, this is by far her toughest fight to date. I don't know that she deserves a minus 185 favorite. And if Molly wins, I think she's going to score well. Like, she might beat the hell out of this girl. If the takedowns aren't there for her, I think Molly could just put it on her and maybe get a late finish, score 110 points herself. So, yeah, this is a fight I'm going to be targeting heavily, actually. This is like maybe my favorite fight on the card.
At ownership, it probably is my favorite fight on the card. Like, hoping ownership's right, but I like it. And Thionara is now minus 202. So she continues to take money, which, yeah, it's a big price to pay on a debuting fighter against Molly McCann for sure. All right, 3 fights left. I'm very curious to hear your take on this one. Clash of Styles, Gunnar Nelson, minus 130. Taking on Kevin Holland, plus 110. Minus 190 for this fight to finish. Gunnar Nelson, plus 170 inside the distance. Kevin Holland, plus 175. I was surprised to see you have it as a 3-star. So I see it grappling in Gunnar Nelson, Kevin Holland, black belt. Yeah, black belt my ass. That dude does not look like a black belt on the mat. Absolutely embarrassing performance last time against the Ritter 2 months ago. I will say, though, that fight was at 185. This is at 170. Kevin Holland is definitely a 170 fighter. He's definitely a welterweight. He is not a middleweight. On the feet, Kevin Holland all day. On the mat, Gunnar Nelson all day. Why do you have it a 3-star? Do you think it just negates itself and it goes to decision, or what?
I just upped it to a 4-star right now.
All right.
But I in my head, 3-star was from Nelson not being a great wrestler, not being a real even active wrestler. He doesn't shoot for many takedowns. When he gets them, he can usually keep it on the ground. But I feel like he could just backpack Nelson for 2-3 rounds here. And if he's not getting a submission,
he would backpack Holland. Yeah.
Holland did. Did I sound that?
He did. Yeah, he did do that against, who was that last performance? It was one of those Asian dudes. I remember watching. Sato. Yes, he literally did that exact. He laid on his back, just kept switching between right and left to try and dig in under the chin, and did nothing. That Takashi Sato fight. So yeah, if it's like that, then you're 100% right.
And I remember I faded him in that fight. I faded him, and the 96 points. That's more than I thought he was going to score. I don't know how that ended up on that card.
It wasn't
or
on the winner. Hoop and I shipped.
Nice.
We woke up and on Twitter, like we saw, like to this day, Aspinall beat Volkov, all this, and Hoop and I. We actually were at our old company's party, so we were watching it live, and it was Arnold Allen we needed in the co-main, just absolutely ran over Hooker and Aspinall against Volkov. So yeah, it wasn't enough on that card. Makayev had 126. Mac won. It was the good old days.
Because I remember at the time, like, regret having him as a full fade because the 96 looked like more than I thought he would score.
Yeah,
but like 96 at 85, we're cool with. 100%. He was like 9,200 then, I guess. I just don't trust him. He's been gone for 2 years. I don't know what he's going to look like here. So it's definitely closer to a 3-star than a 5-star now that I have it at a 4. But I think Holland's the better striker here. Maybe not by a lot. But with the unknowns on the Nelson side, it wouldn't shock me to see a Holland knockout. He could make the optimal that way. Holland's decent on the ground, but this is just not the fight you want to test it. Like, you don't want to be going for takedowns against Nelson. He's a much better grappler here. But I don't trust Holland. He's not the smartest guy in the world. So he could. I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. That's why I had it as a 3. I just have no idea how it's going to play out. I really don't even feel good about who's going to win. I don't even know who I picked. I think I picked Nelson. I picked Nelson by submission. So I guess I do like him a little bit more. But just no real confidence in it. And if he's going to be chalk, then that makes me like him less. If he's not going to get much ownership, that'd make me like him more.
I think this fight that just has to get ownership. Minus 190 to finish. Clash of Styles right there. I picked Holland. It's not comfortable ever picking Kevin Holland, but I think the advantage on the feet is big enough, and we haven't seen, like you said, Gunnar in 2 years. Like Barberena, that tells me absolutely nothing against bloated. against a bloated Brian Barberena. I mean, what, he was 170 in that fight. He's a 155er. He just put on so much weight and looked awful at the end of his career. So, yeah, that means nothing. All right, 2 fights left. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. Like button helps us out a ton. I bet these last 2 fights big Marley. Carlos Alberg, I hammered him at minus 265 against Jan Bohovic. Now he's minus 303, plus 253 for Jan, minus 110 for this fight to finish. Alberg plus 170 inside the distance. Jan plus 375. I mean, 2 shoulder surgeries for Jan. Alberg 7 years younger. I just think the biggest difference is the speed. I think Alberg will style on him when it comes to the speed. The kicks will be powerful on the feet night and day. Does he stuff the takedowns? I'm going to bet yes. If not, I will be losing a chunk of money. But I think it's just night and day, the speed difference on the feet, in and out, leg kicks. I think Carlos Alberg puts on a show in this one. Also, training with Izzy, his boy, Jan beat Izzy. Obviously, Alberg wants it back, but Izzy can give a lot of thoughts to Alberg about what he saw in the Jan fight, especially the takedown entries and stuff like that. So over 2.5 in this one is minus 240. Dustin, what are you doing in this one, Big Marley?
I like it. I think Alberg just looks so good. He's one of the best strikers in the UFC. He could put on a pace when he wants to. But, I mean, now's the time to get aggressive. If you go out there and you can knock out Jan, then you're knocking on the door for a title shot. So I think the knockout's super in play here. I like Alberg. But he kind of has to get a knockout, especially if he's going to be spending any time on his back. Like 9K is a lot to pay. And if he told me he's going to win a decision, I probably got to X him out completely, right? Like, I just don't see how he scores more than 95 points in the decision win here. So I don't know how much I'm going to get in DFS. I do like him more than the rest of the 9K range because he's cheaper than them. And I think he has just as high of a ceiling. But he's not a must-have by any means. And then if Jan wins, I think he's got a really good chance at the optimal lineup, whether that be a knockout of his own or him putting on the wrestling shoes and wrestling for 3 rounds. Either way, I think he scores well if he gets his hand raised in this one. So it'll be another fight. It's a top 3 or 4 fight for me to target both sides of. But, yeah, give me Alberg to make a statement here.
100% with you. And everything you said, even though I like Alberg a lot, DFS by no means. I liked him way more as a bet at minus 265 than DFS, because if he takes it like he did Fabio Charant and just sits at distance and picks him apart, he can win a 75 significant strike decision clearly, but it's awful in DFS. And even though I think Alberg wins and I'm strong on him, I'm not fading Jan. I'm going to be underweight since he loses, but he does have pass, like you said, with wrestling, power himself. If Alberg's a fraud at the end of the day, and he goes back to like that Kennedy where he gasses himself out, he gets caught, who knows? Jan can definitely be on the winner. If I know Jan wins, I would bet that he outscores a lot of these other dogs on the card. So chasing upside there makes sense. All right. Main event time, Big Marley. Again, bet this one big too, and then I parlayed those 2, which I never do. So I straight bet both and parlayed it. Going to be sweaty these last 2 fights. Sean Brady, minus 155 over Leon Edwards, plus 135, plus 150 for this fight to finish. Brady plus 240 inside the distance. Leon plus 425. My quick breakdown, I think it's just like the Bilal fight. I think Brady is 2.0. Bilal beat Brady, knocked him out, dominated. So, again, there's levels. Bilal very well could be on a different level. Man, I think Brady learned a lot from that fight. It's the same thing, though. Pace, pressure, wrestling. I don't think that's going to let Leon get off on his strikes. It's going to be really hard. He's going to fight an uphill battle the whole time when Brady stuck to him like glue. I know home cooking, if it goes to decision and Leon gets a robbery or whatever, so be it. I just think with Brady's style, it's really like Bilal. It's really hard to get any robbery if you're getting wrestled for 25 minutes. That's how I expect this one to go. DFS, always like Brady, rarely like Leon. So, yeah, it's Sean Brady in every which way for me. Are you on the same side? Do you see it different?
Yeah, definitely same side. Brady's my favorite play on the card. Highest ceiling on the card by a mile. He had 165 in his last fight against a dangerous grappler, and he landed 7 takedowns against him. You're not really worried too much about Edwards on his back. So that's the perfect play. Go out there, heavy pace, heavy wrestling game, and he should win just like Bilal did. Score 130 plus points. If I'm making 20 lineups, I'm all in on Brady. 100% all in. If I'm making 150 lineups, I could see me having like 75% Brady, maybe 15% Edwards, and then have the other 10% as a fade. But yeah,
I like it. I'm going to have
Brady
100%. I'm probably going to have 80 to 100% Brady in my 20 and below. I debated not making the rule, but I'm still probably not going to make the rule if I have 80% and no Leon and 20% fade. If Leon won a decision somehow close, Brady wrestled 2 rounds, he won 3, I could see it. But more than likely, I'll probably have 100% Brady too. Awesome stuff, Big Marley. Any final thoughts in this one? Otherwise, I'm going to get on out of here and get NBA in 10 minutes.
Nah, hopefully your bets cash. Hopefully NBA goes well for you. Good luck, title. Good luck, everybody listening. Let's ship it.
Let's hope they cash indeed. Good luck, everybody. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Again, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. For Big Marley, I'm Title Tom. Be safe. Have a great weekend. Peace.